Up in Darby, Pennsylvania. It's right outside of like Southwest Philadelphia.
Okay. So
Yeah.
do you identify as Philly still? Do you feel like a Philly boy at heart?
More like a Darby guy, but yeah. In my adult life, I lived in West Philly most of my adult life, so kind of, yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah, that's
that's where all my gyms are at. When I trained out there, Royal Strike and the Gracie and everything.
nice. That's interesting, man, because like in Pittsburgh, every suburb still feels like they're from Pittsburgh. Like you could be 45 minutes to an hour from the city, but you still feel like you're Pittsburgh, like born and bred. But it's funny, like being Darby. How far is Darby from like downtown Philly?
I mean, it's literally like a trolley, 11 trolley that takes you directly there. I would say like a drive was probably about maybe like 15-20 minutes
Oh, wow.
beginning. But yeah, there's like transportation. There's trolleys that take you right into the hardest in the city from
Okay.
Darby.
But even then, you said you still feel more like you're from Darby than Philly, even being that close. I just as Pittsburgh, that it's just interesting to me. That's
Yeah,
all.
they got this thing like if you're not from like Philadelphia, you don't claim it. People sometimes from Philadelphia get a little like oh, you're not really from Philly, so
Okay.
not claim where you're from.
I got you. So I thought this fight was gonna be like Pittsburgh versus Philly, but maybe it's more like Pittsburgh versus Darby.
I mean, yeah, but Darby's like nobody knows,
Right, right.
like it's like Monroeville. I mean, like I know Worthy's from Pittsburgh, but it's like I guess Monroeville. If you was from Monroeville, you probably just rep Pittsburgh. I guess I don't know anything about the area besides my wife is actually from she grew up like most of her life in Pittsburgh, so
Nice.
yeah,
That's awesome,
she
man.
knows a
Well,
lot more than me.
yeah, for sure, dude. Well, we got a lot to unpack with you, man. First off, I just want to thank you for, stepping up and taking the fight. It was tough finding somebody to fight Kama. I wish that we had logged our hours of trying to find somebody just so that we could tell people exactly how much time went into this, but it was crazy, and you were one of the only people, man, to your credit, and I really respect and appreciate this, that right from the beginning you wanted the fight. Like right away, there was no hesitation in saying you wanted the fight. It then just became normal negotiating, figuring everything out, and getting a deal done. But like from the jump, we could tell like Kaheem wants this fight. So what was it about this matchup right away that had you like, okay, I want it. Now let's make it make sense.
I mean, I just think the matchup is perfect. I mean, he's an experienced guy, but I just like I've seen him fight. I remember when he was in the UFC. I watch the UFC show just to see him fight because, I don't know him like that, but I do remember him from back in the day when I fought as an amateur. He wrapped my hands once, so I do know who he is, and I knew about him. So I was interested. I've been like following him a little bit, so I know his style, and I think it was a good matchup, and that's why I was interested from the jump. I think it's going to be a really interesting fight, a really fun fight. It's not going to be a boring fight at all.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we loved about the matchup too. Looking at your record, you have 23 fights if the database is correct. 23 fights total between your amateur and pro career, and you've done that over a stretch of like 7.5 years. So you've been averaging about 3 fights a year for 7 years, man. You're super active, which is always a good sign, I feel like, for fighters. How have you been able to maintain that kind of pace? It's pretty rare that you see a guy fight that often for that long without huge layoffs like you haven't had.
Well, the last few years, I haven't been as active as I, was in my early amateur career. As an amateur, I kind of was like most of my fights were like super short notice, and going against guys, that needed a filling at the last minute. So I would say from like 2015 to like 2017, a lot of those fights were just like hey, it's a fight. Like why not? Let's fight. But I would say like since like joining when I was joined Royal Striking, I think that was back in 2017. I think that like I averaged less fights, and I've gotten better. But yeah, the basically like I mean back in the day I just kind of just fought like it's just like it was a fight. I just fought. It wasn't really the smartest game plan, but over I haven't fought since I haven't fought like since the end of 2020, and I've been kind of like pacing myself a lot, So it's a big difference from the beginning of my amateur career until now.
Sure. I mean, you're 32 years old now. You got probably, without question, the biggest win of your career in your last fight in Bellator against Kimbo Slice's son, Kevin Ferguson Jr., Baby Slice. Does that crossroads of your career, does that all add up to what you're saying? Like, now's the time for you to get a little more picky, a little more selective with your career, because like now's the time for you to really make a name for yourself. Is that kind of how you're feeling?
Oh, definitely. Like even going into that fight, like, I was a huge underdog. If you like even like in my eyes, Baby Slice technically was he went into the fight, I believe 3-2, but he was technically 4-1. He had got a win overturned due to I think it was like really controversial. I don't think it should have been overturned. But it was definitely a risky fight. A lot of people thought that it's not not the smartest fight there, like, probably bring you in, to maybe, like lose to kind of build him up.
Hmm.
But like in this situation, I feel that it's like very similar. It's a big name. And I'm just like, I feel like, it's another opportunity to like knock off a big name.
Yeah, what was the experience like fighting for Bellator? Like you said, Kama is in a similar position, obviously being a UFC veteran. He's looking to get back. It seems like everybody, once they fought in an organization like Bellator or UFC and then are out, they want back in. It seems like everybody loves that experience. So what was your Bellator experience like?
It was nice, man. They treated, me and my team really well. The production, everything was really nice. How they like, just conducted themselves. The promoters that I, talked to, the matchmakers. It was really like a great experience from beginning to end. I mean, obviously it was the end of 2020, so it was during COVID, so we had to follow a strict COVID protocol and get there like almost like a week earlier than when the fight started. But despite all of that, which was out of their control, it was it was a really pleasant experience, and definitely like picking up the win.
Yeah, was there a crowd there? I didn't even
Nah,
consider the COVID. Ah, yeah, that sucks.
there was no crowd there. You was allowed, you had your cornermen, and yeah, it was just kind of like on like on I think mine streamed live on YouTube, and the main card was on CBS Sports. But nah, there was no crowd. It was November of 2020. I was like right in the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's terrible. I didn't even connect those dots until you said about COVID. It feels funny now, like it's not over at all, but the COVID protocols feel so much more lax now. It feels like, people are kind of back. The restrictions aren't as crazy, and I'm sure Texas is pretty wide open from what I've heard. So this should be a better experience for you, I would say.
Oh yeah, I know. Pennsylvania has some strict protocols as of like maybe a few months ago, but they like I don't think MMA shows were allowed to have people come without like a vaccination card, but I don't think that's in effect anymore. So
Mm-mm.
like that definitely helps out a lot for this fight.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll be good, man. The crowd should definitely be really good for this show. We're anticipating an awesome fight. I mean, Kama's last fight in February, that place was packed. It was rocking. It was super electric. And this one's going to be even bigger, in no small part thanks to you, man. So that's, we're super excited for this matchup in particular. So what are you like? How do you feel like you're going to react to a big crowd environment now? Like you said, Bellator didn't have people. It's been a while since you fought in front of a rowdy crowd. Then you think that experience is
I
just still
mean,
going to pay off?
even though there was no crowd, there was still like a lot of people. I mean, so many people was watching. I mean, I was the Darby Police Department like tagged me in a post on social media, so I know like everybody, like all eyes were like on me. So it was still that same pressure. Like I
Mhm.
know Baby Slice was like getting like interviewed by like TMZ, so it might not have been people like actually in the stance, but it was still like a lot of pressure, a lot of eyes on you. So I don't think that like fighting in front of no crowd versus fighting in front of like a lot of people for this fight. I don't think that. I think the pressure is, pretty much, the same or comparable.
That's awesome, man. One thing that really impresses me with you is in that fight, your composure, first of all. You won that fight pretty easily. I think you swept 30-27s on the scorecards. It was pretty dominant decision for you. But then in the post-fight interview I was watching, man, you conduct yourself like a long-time pro. And even right now in the podcast, anybody listening can tell, you're a veteran at this. It's very clear from the first second we talked to you on the phone. It's very clear that you're a pro who's been around, who understands the game. And I was just impressed with the way you carried yourself in that post-fight interview. What was that like, being up on the Bellator podium, getting asked questions by some of the best journalists in MMA? Did it feel cool to you?
Yeah, it was nice. I mean, you gotta like really believe that you belong there, and you can't let like I feel like a lot of fighters sometimes they let their nerves get the best of them. They don't fight to their full potential. And I think where I'm at right now in my career, I feel that I'm like very confident. Like when I go out there, I'm a put on a show. Like I'm a show what I have. It's not going to be a fight where like he doesn't look like this in the gym. Like mentally, I'm there. I'm ready. I've been through like I mean nerves are always going to be there. Including for this fight. Like I mean that's just the name of the game. But you just have to like I feel like I'm like right now I'm like really confident and like I'm not really like phased by I fought in like I fought in like a main event as an amateur where it was like 400 people booing me. Like, I mean, once you get past all of that, like, you're ready for, this.
That's fun, man. I mean, I'm not gonna speak for the Pittsburgh crowd, but you might get booed in April as well, just letting you know.
Probably. I don't know much about like the fan base. I mean, I fought in Pittsburgh like twice. Um, I never fought like a hometown guy though, so I don't like. But like, hey, I love it. Like, I encourage it. Like, I want to get like, like I love that. That just fires me up.
Yeah, it's gonna be good, man. Everybody always loves it. One thing that we definitely try to promote at our events is a very family-friendly atmosphere. We allow children. It's very much like it's rowdy and electric and fun without going over the edge like some shows where you feel like you might just get punched in the face at any corner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's very family friendly and cool, but it is definitely I think you'll enjoy the atmosphere on
I was
fight
at a
night.
I was at an event in Tampa Bay last weekend, and it was like they had some guys from New York there, like a whole crowd of New Yorkers, and yeah, it gets pretty like when their guy comes out, they get pretty. Sometimes I mean you've been around, you see like some
Yeah.
people who get pretty rowdy.
Yeah, yeah, it gets dicey for sure, man, no doubt, but we try not to do any of that. So it'll be rowdy and fun, but not in a dangerous way.
Yeah, well, whatever, I'm ready for it.
Hell yeah, man. So one thing that I definitely wanted to dig into was you mentioned Royal Striking and being from Derby, fighting in the Philly area for a long time, but now being down in Texas, what was the reason behind you moving to Texas? What caused all that?
Well, at the time, I was working remotely from home. When I was working in Philly, I was a caseworker, and my wife, she got a job here. So she had to be in person. She had to, she got a job at a college here. So, we had to, move. She was pregnant at the time. We had to,
Mm.
move down here to Texas. So that was my primary reason moving, to basically like, support her and her, career. I was able at the time to continue to work remotely. So, yeah, that's why we, came down here. And so, I had to find new gyms and everything, somewhere, where to train at. So I ended up settling at Next Generation Frisco with Chris Brennan. He has his son there, Lucas Brennan, who's undefeated in Bellator. There's a bunch of other really good guys there. A guy named Cody Walker, who's he actually fought in the PA area before. It's a lot of I mean they have like a no gi jiu-jitsu program, and a lot of guys there are really really good. So I've been getting most of my striking from Ohana. It's a Muay Thai gym that's not too far from me here in Richardson. So yeah, that was the reason why I'm here now in Texas.
That's awesome, man. I used to work for Flow Sports and they're based out of Austin, Texas. And I used to go to Austin like 4 times a year when I was working for them. And the Texas barbecue is just on such a different level than anything we get in Pennsylvania, man. Are you a big barbecue guy?
I mean, I used to be. It's kind of like I don't really eat much barbecue now because I've been vegan for like almost 2 years.
Oh man, nice. I did not know that. What a dumb
Yeah,
question for a vegan.
nah. Yeah, so I don't like going to it like there's all types of like really you can tell they're nice barbecue spots in different spots in Dallas, but I haven't really checked them out because it's mostly like
Yeah. That's
meat and
just a
stuff.
tease. If you're a vegan,
Yeah,
you can't even go
I
and
mean
smell
it
it.
looks
Like,
interesting. Even though I'm a vegan, I still like remember like I used to love ribs. That used to be my like post fight victory meal, or like when I
mhm.
win, like I would like get some like big back ribs or
Oh
something
man.
from
Making me
wherever I
hungry
can.
for sure. What made you switch to the vegan life, dude? That's a really interesting transition for an athlete, for a pro athlete. I mean, For sure, guys do it, but it seems like it always brings an extra level of challenge for you. So how has that transition been, and what kind of caused it?
Just like I was, I became, when was it? Like September, I think, or August of 2020. Turned vegan, and I did it for basically, I just wanted to see like if I can like push myself even more, like if it was going to make a difference. I had read some things on how like, some vegan athletes like feel like they're better conditioned. So that was the motivating factor of why I decided to do it. And I would say like even in my like, I would say that I do think, I mean, always had pretty good stamina, but I think now like I'm able to just go like, round after round after round without getting tired. So, I do feel a difference in my body. But the first month, if anybody like is thinking about turning vegan, the first month is always the hardest. But after that, it gets like, your body adjusting, it's a lot different. But yeah, I feel good. I feel great. Like,
Is your wife vegan with you? Is the whole household?
yep, though she's vegan, the
Nice.
baby's, he's only 7 months, but he's technically vegan as well because he gets his milk from her. So
That's
I guess
awesome.
milk is not vegan, but like it's from a vegan.
Close
So,
enough, yeah. Listen, if mother's milk doesn't count as vegan, I don't know what we're doing here. Like, that's gotta be the most pure substance on earth, right?
yeah.
Dude, have you found any, like, particular vegan recipes that you never would have tried before and that now you just love?
Oh yeah, like so like I it's something called seitan.
Mhm.
Me and my wife we make it. It's out of vital wheat gluten. Um, it's tempeh. Like I eat that a lot. It's a whole bunch of interesting recipes that I've had. That we make. Out of different foods. But at first it was hard because I didn't really know what to eat. But
Mhm.
yeah, we definitely have a bunch of recipes.
Yeah, that's kinda what I was gonna ask. Have you had kind of a vegan mentor? Do you just kinda do your own research on the internet, or how have you learned kinda what to eat and what's good for athletes?
Well, I have a bunch of cookbooks. I purchased some of them, got some as gifts for like Christmas and stuff. But yeah,
Nice.
I have a bunch of cookbooks and just like searching online, finding like out new ideas. Like I said, the first few months it was kind of hard because it's like, okay, what do you eat? But there's so many foods out there, so many different grains, so many different like things out there that a lot of people don't know about. So it's not really that hard. You just got to get creative. You just got to know what to cook.
Nice, man. One thing that I think is interesting is you mentioned how it's helped your conditioning and your cardio, it seems like. But that's something that I feel like you've been known for anyway, before you were vegan. Everybody, that we've talked to about you says he gets stronger the longer the fight goes. That's like a trademark of your style. So, where has that come from? Were you born with just kind of a natural cardio for fighting, or is that something that you really focus on and drill down into?
You just kind of like you gotta dig deep and like as the fight goes along, you kind of like just get more confidence, you get more like settled in, nerves kind of shake off. You just got to dig deep. But yeah, like it was something I had even way before I turned vegan. But now, like even my baby slice fight, like I felt like I don't know, it just felt like I never really got tired. Like I felt really like great. It almost felt like and I would say in every fight, regardless of like how I showed it, like you always feel a little something. You feel a little fatigue, especially by the third round. But I don't like, I'm able to push myself a lot, further, even in training when you have those long rounds and, like I'm able to push myself a lot more.
Yeah, it's a different level, and again, kinda like I said earlier, that's what's awesome working with literal pros like you, but also people who carry themselves very professionally like you is like, we know we don't have to worry about your conditioning and things like that. I'm sure you've seen it on the amateur level so many times where a guy goes in there a minute into the fight and you can just tell he's totally gassed. So I feel like that's
Yeah.
always an interesting dynamic with fighters. What would you tell a young fighter on that level? Because like we said, this has never been an issue for you. Like, what kind of advice would you give somebody just starting their career?
I mean, you just gotta like settle in. You gotta like, deal with your nerves. I think like the reason like when you watch certain amateur fights, including like, some of mine, like the reason guys get like burnt out because they like are in the back, maybe overthinking, they're like a little too antsy. They kind of like you just gotta like go out there and enjoy yourself. You can't think about like what's going to happen, what may happen. You just gotta go out there and enjoy yourself. And you also gotta like you almost gotta train. Like you gotta like fighting is mostly mental. You gotta like train, and you gotta like, put yourself in the most uncomfortable positions during training. So when you're like actually in there in a fight and you feel like fatigue and your lungs are on fire, you can just continue to just push yourself, and it's so mental. Like fighting is so mental. Like it's kind of hard to like coach that or tell a younger fighter that. It's just a lot of times it just comes with like experience.
Yeah, so we know your mental game super sharp. We know your cardio is super sharp. How would you describe your fight style for somebody who's not familiar? Because, like you said, most of our listeners, most of our viewers know exactly how Khama fights. They've seen him fight before, probably even in person, but they're not as familiar with you, obviously, being out of town. So, how would you describe your style for our listeners, and what can they expect on April 16th?
I mean, like I am like primarily a striker. What I mean, especially you look at my like previous fights, but like I'm even before the baby slice fight, I've been working on I have like as an amateur several like submission wins. Um I feel like I'm well rounded, and it's a lot of stuff in that baby slice fight. Like, I got like some takedowns in that fight. Like it's a lot of things that like I have, that I want to use. And I definitely been working on that, since then, like in the past, because I've kind of been quietly just training. I haven't really been posting a lot about, my training, or like I don't even think I post like what gyms I go to now. I just kind of just been, training. I've been training twice a day for a while now and just getting stuff done. So it's a lot of things that, I have in my arsenal. But my to answer the question, my fight style, I would say that, I'm mostly like I'm well rounded, but like the thing that sticks out the most is definitely my striking.
That's definitely exciting, obviously, for listeners and anybody with the matchup, because Kama's a striker as well. I mean, this seems like on paper, this could turn into a really high level Muay Thai match really fast, which is super exciting for everybody watching, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, but sometimes those match they kind of bound. They like sometimes the matchups that you expect that between two wrestlers they turn into like a
Hmm.
striking match, or sometimes a
Yeah.
matchup between two strikers might actually one guy's might turn into a grappling match. So well, not a grappling match, but it might be more grappling in a fight. So you know, yeah, it definitely has the potential to, be a really good, stand up fight. But wherever it goes, like I feel like I'm, really prepared. And I know Worthy is definitely like, well rounded. I know he has good subs. I know, I mean, he's been around, he's been around, he's been in the game, he's accomplished so much. He's fought really good guys, beating really good guys. So like I know like that he's gonna come and he's gonna be, well rounded. He's really good. So, I'm looking forward to the challenge, and can't wait.
That's what's so awesome about it, man. Like both of you guys, like you said, both of you guys are so experienced, so well rounded everywhere that no matter where the fight goes, it's going to be a high level contest. Like it's not like one of you has a gaping hole in your game that's just going to get exposed. I mean, it's truly a matchup that you don't see on the regional level very often. You know, a UFC vet versus a Bellator vet. I mean, you guys are as good as it gets, and we're honored to have it. So we're super thankful for you taking the fight, man, and we can't wait to watch you put on a show. But I gotta ask, and looking past an opponent is never the move, obviously, and I don't think you're doing that at all. But should you beat Khama, where do you want to go in your career? Are you angling for another shot in Bellator UFC, or kind of how are you approaching your career right now?
Well, definitely. I mean, I've since like after like right after my last fight against Baby Slice, I had like a pretty severe injury that I had to get surgery, like basically right after the Baby Slice fight. Um, but yeah, they've offered me things. Just it came at bad times because it was like right after my surgery. So yeah, I definitely would love to go back, fight, in a bigger promotion, Bellator. Like if I get a short notice call for like a bigger promotion, like I'm open to that as well. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna want to constantly move up. I want to be a little bit more active now that I've been kind of a little bit inactive. Just with family stuff and like surgery. I want to be a little bit more active this year. My goal is to maybe fight 3 times this year. So yeah, I'm definitely looking to make a statement and continue to move up.
Nice. That's a really good pace, man. Like we said, 3 times a year seems to be your average. So that's settling right back into Kaheem Murray realm. That seems like what you're comfortable with.
Definitely, yep.
So we'll close with this, man. Let you plug any sponsors. I don't want to keep you too much longer. I know you're a busy guy, obviously getting ready for fight prep and everything. But if you have any sponsors, anybody you want to shout out, man, the floor is all yours.
I don't have really many sponsors that I've gotten ready for this fight, but definitely I want to shout out to my boy Eric and Yams Incorporated. Him and Corey run a clothing apparel company. Give them a shout out. Give a shout out to Crystal and the Missing Plug. She does event like coordination and stuff like that. And yeah, that's hope I didn't forget anybody, but that's pretty much. I haven't really been able to get a bunch of sponsors set up so far, but those are my main two. People that like have supported me in the past, so definitely want to shout them out.
That's awesome, man. We gotta tag like some vegan meal prep or some kind of vegan. There's got to be a vegan angle for you, right? Like vegan sponsors
Oh
got to
yeah, I
be
was
out there.
definitely working with some people in Philadelphia, like after my last fight, but like moving kind of things kind of like fell apart. But yeah, there's definitely there'll probably be a vegan because I know a lot of vegan companies around here. Kind of cool with some of the people that work there. So yeah, I'll definitely probably pop up with a vegan sponsorship soon.
Nice. I'll have to do some research for you, man. When you're in Pittsburgh, I'll get you some good vegan restaurants so you can try when you're in town.
Oh, definitely, I appreciate that.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks again for the time, dude. Good luck with the training camp and everything. We can't wait to see you in April, man. This fight is sick. Once again, thanks for taking it. Can't wait to work with you and your team, man.
Can't wait. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Sure, brother. Yep. Take care, man.